basically, what we are going to do is like we are going to discuss the pre-scene analysis. So already Indonesia has discussed the auditing part or the risk of material misstatement part, including corporate governance and other sections. So today, what we are going to do is basically we are going to focus on the financial reporting aspects. As you all know, SL1 is a subject where you have like financial reporting part as well as auditing part. Let's say 55% of the financial reporting and 45% of the audit or risk of material misstatement part. So, but in the paper, if you analyze the paper, normally what we are getting is like more or less they will keep weightage like 60% to the financial reporting minimum and 40% like auditing. That's how they are weighting when it's come to the real paper. So, of course, in this pre-scene also you have to give some kind of more weightage compared to the auditing in terms of financial reporting, since there are a lot of things in terms of financial reporting which includes in this particular pre-scene, right? So I'm sharing my screen with you without doing too much about. If everyone can see my screen. If you can't see my screen, just tell me. Right. So here you can see students basically we are talking about Sunshine Group, right? Sunshine Construction PLC, SCP, right? So it was Sunshine Construction Limited before 2005, before listing, but now it is a listed company after 2005. And we are talking about Sunshine Group. Sunshine Group is not that much of a complicated group, very straightforward kind of a group that we have. Because when we see the last pre-scenes in previous exams, we see there are some complicated group structure. But here, in this particular pre-scene, we don't have that kind of a complicated group structure. We have a group which consists of three entities, starting from the Sunshine Construction as well as two subsidiaries, right? I will describe those things and how it is going to be visible later on. So today, my core focus is not to read the pre-scene. No one, I think, will expect me to read the pre-scene and highlight the pre-scene, right? I don't believe that is pretty what we call the pre-scene analysis. I know already that you have gone through the pre-scene several times and you have highlighted and you have done your own analysis as well. So what I am going to do you take you through today is mainly students. What I am going to do is mainly I'm going to tell you. I am going to actually I have three main objectives when you are doing this particular pre-scene. So what are the three main objectives? The first one is basically I am going to show you some summarize or the concise things when it's come to the pre-scene, or let's say the analysis, my analysis, and what I'm going to discuss with you today. What are the possible financial reporting questions and what are the possible consolidation questions that might be tested from this particular pre-scene, right? So going forward, as you all know, the pre-scene will normally apply, not normally, every time it applies to section or the question number 3 or the section 2 for 50 marks. So keep remember, if you take too much on the pre-scene, it will not give you the remaining 50 marks, because question 1 and 2 mainly you have to get 50 marks and nothing related to pre-scene. Here question 3 is the only place that pre-scene will apply. So most of the time, so if you think about the recent past, sometimes risk of material misstatement question also embedded to the section 2, which is based on the pre-scene. But normally, if you think about the recent, right, recent two past papers like 2020 July and 2023 June, those two past papers you can see most of the time risk of material misstatement coming as a separate question under Q2. But Q3 is more or less coming under financial reporting. If you go to this particular paper, also more or less it is coming from the financial reporting. But this time it was some kind of a different here. Also, what you can expect is like more or less under the pre-scene, what is coming is what is related to financial reporting. But this time, when I am reading the pre-scene, what came to my mind was like this pre-scene is a very balanced pre-scene. There's no much information in terms of financial reporting. If you read the pre-scene very closely, so there are no financial reporting problems, concerns as it is, right? So we can have some remote things, but there are no bigger things when it's come to financial reporting. Even consolidation, of course, you are getting a question that is inevitable. Consolidation, of course, it is related to pricing and you are getting the question. But other than that, financial reporting, accounting is standard related question. There's a very open-ended kind of a pre-scene, and there are no or very few clues that we can expect for financial reporting. But if you go through the pre-scene, there are a lot of corporate governance issues and risk of material issues, misstatement issues also there, then and there. But more than that, there are a lot of corporate governance concerns within the pre-scene. So that's why I believe, I don't know, but I believe this time when it's come to exam, there will be a question or a significant marks coming from the auditing part as well, based on the pre-scene, right? That's my some kind of a prediction. Don't know whether it will be correct, right? Because we don't know who are preparing the paper. It is like keeping some kind of confidential thing, right? So this is basically our predictions based on the pre-scene and based on our experience, right? Okay, students, this is a disclaimer that I normally do to my students, right? Obviously, we are talking about the pre-scene. The pre-scene is like iceberg theory. Pre-scene is basically what we see here, right? But there's a big part or a bigger part is what we are not seeing, which is unseen, right? So the pre-scene during the exam, you are getting unseen as well. So in that particular unseen, whatever the information given in the pre-scene may be upside down. They will change it completely. So you have to ready for whatever, coming in unseen as well. So that's what I am telling all the time to my students. Basically, if you are, even though you are doing pre-scene analysis, too much get stuck to it, right? Too much go deeper dive on it, because normally, if you think about the recent past, students who go to the exam with a free mind, without deep dive into the pre-scene, they were able to successfully attempt the question. So if you think about the recent past, the pre-scene and the unseen and the paper, the connectivity was not that much high in terms of the pre-scene. What they are included in the paper, that connectivity was not that much high, right? Even some papers were there, even without reading the pre-scene, you can attempt the consolidation question. Likewise, there were some papers as such as well. Another thing, so that's why I'm telling, analyze the pre-scene, read the pre-scene, and have a good open-ended mind and go to the exam. Don't expect that whatever the things that I am going to discuss with you today will exactly come to the exam. These are pure predictions based on our judgments, right? So anyway, then other thing is, student, I see sometimes students are doing some kind of a mistake. They are going after similar companies, right? So if they are saying this similar company, let's say this is like a Navaloka Construction, Sunken Construction, SS Interior. Likewise, they are going after similar companies and they have started reading the annual report of that particular similar companies. Don't do and not required. This is not actually integrated credit study SL5. This is SL1. What you have to do is basically you have to analyze whatever the available information. You don't need to worry about similar company, whether there is a similar company or not. That is okay, because recent part we have seen there are similar companies, students go after that, and it is pure waste of time. There's no much importance, actually not important at all when it comes to your real paper, right? Final week of your exam preparation or 1 week ahead for the exam, in that particular time, you have to be very careful to utilize your time effectively. Otherwise, you may be not able to get the desired mark, right? That you have to keep in your mind. Don't do any unnecessary things during this final week, right? Of course, whatever the things that we are discussing with today, maybe you can get a good understanding about the pre-scene with the pre-scene. And other than that, what I am going to touch you today is basically the predictions. Based on the predictions, if you are already missed something, let's say I'm going to predict the standard, let's say SLFRS 15. If you haven't gone through the SLFRS 15, you can refresh your knowledge in terms of SLFRS 15 based on the inputs that I have given you today, right? Here, student, this is like a summary. If you think about the presentation, there are a lot of individuals coming in, and they are doing different roles. There are a lot of KMPs. I believe that Indonesia has already gone through the KMPs and everything. And if not, you can also identify the KMPs in the place by reading the pre-scene. But here, what I am going to discuss first is the Apuami's family, which is the main narrator or the key person or the key character of this particular pre-scene. So Puncibanda Apuhami, or normally he called as Puncibanda Bas, and he's a carpenter and a mason as well. And he's a eldest son of an unprivileged family, let's say poor family. And father is a farmer and her mother is a housewife, and they had like 7 children, and Puncibanda was the eldest son, right? So basically, is not important here. And Puncibanda, and he had 4 brothers and 2 sisters, right? In the pre-scene, there were no names were mentioned with respect to their brothers and sisters, but including their siblings, family had 7 children, right? So this pre-scene and the Puncibanda Apuham is from Matara Tihagoda, right? So that particular area, he has basically constructed like a, he is into construction. Let's say he's initially he started as a boss, and later on he has gone for some small scale and medium scale constructions as well. And what changed his approach in terms of the business, or let's say what is the key milestone or the key turning point of this particular business? Because Punchi Banda one day went to take a bank loan and he was not able to secure the bank loan, just because that he doesn't maintain any proper financial statement. As we all know, if you are taking a bank loan, they will ask proper financial statement. Maybe they will ask audited financial statement. If not, right? If not, so if not most of the time, right, you may be not, you will not be able to secure a bank loan. So that is what happened to Punchi Banda Appuhami as well, or Punchi Banda Basa as well. And that's why they are think of incorporating a private limited company, right? Sunshine Constructions Private Limited, right? And that is basically the inception of this particular uh, group, right? And Kosal Appuhami, they are telling about, because Kosal Appuhami also coming under the family, right? Family, close family members. Kosal Appuhami is the eldest son of Punchi Banda, and he is executive director of SML, Sunshine Manufacturer Limited, one of the subsidiary, and he became executive director in 2003. And he is the managing director of SRERL, Real Estate Arms, real estate subsidiary of this particular group. And he became the managing director in 2005. And now 2005, he became the managing director and the vice chairman of the SCP group as well. So chairman of the SCP group is Punchi Banda, and Punchi Banda seems like now having his, let's say, final, let's say he is going to move out from the business, and Kosal Appuhami, eldest son of Punchi Banda, is going to take over the CEO or the managing director or the vice chairman position of the SCP. So that was the plan. And just to give some kind of introduction about Sunshine Group, this was also extracted from the Prescient. So slogan is time and high quality delivery. So it's very competitive, or it's very challenging when it's come to construction industry, especially with the raw material inputs and maybe some quality labor issues and everything. The timely and high quality delivery is something very not easy to achieve in terms of construction industry, right? That was clearly mentioned in the Prescient as well. So there's a vision to be a leading brand, construction and everything. So these are just, I am putting here, nothing related to financial reporting, right? But this may be related to SL4 as well, but not report to financial reporting. But I am telling this to give you some kind of an understanding about what the group is all about. So Sunshine Group has basically constructed into construction industry. They have constructed buildings, highways, road, apartments, and they have they up to date. They have done like 50 projects, including some government projects as well, right? And Sunshine Group had worked close to 1,500 employees, a bigger company, and 20 billion revenue in 2003. Previous year 23 billion, and profit 242 billion, but last year 2.9 billion, asset 3 billion. So if you think about the financial statement, if you compare the last year to this year, if you go through the ratio analysis starting from profitability ratios, liquid ratios, and the gearing ratios and investor ratio, whatever the ratios, all are not giving that much of a good sign. All are giving warning signs, right? Most of the time, if you closely look at the financial statement, they are clearly say the SML, Sunshine Manufacturing Limited, is giving some kind of a issue in terms of profitability, right? The profit is eroding basically in terms of the group profitability, right? So that was there. And if you go about the real estate arm also, there's a problem. If you go and look at the segmental information note, you can see some, I don't know whether it's correct or not, maybe because it's unaudited segmental information is given to us, but it is not clearly mentioned. But anyway, that particular real estate arm also might have used some troubles, but it is not 100% clearly mentioned in the Prescient. But anyway, Sunshine company, the particular company, the parent company also is struggling in terms of the profitability and everything. You can see it in the financial statement, right? I'm not going to take you through in details. I believe the strategic level students should have the ability to go through the set of financial statement and identify those financial discrepancies, right? Anyway, what I have to give you is like the company in terms of financial ratios, financial position, financial performance is not in a good situation, right? And a strategic journey. So if you think about the strategic journey, company established in 1975, Sunshine Construction Private Limited, and its small office near to Punchi Banda's house. And 2003, they established Sunshine Manufacturing Limited, right? And 2005 they listed to Colombo Exchange at the 30th anniversary, basically, right? Then established Sunshine Real Estate and Residency Private Limited, and in 2005 shareholding structure change. Two new independent directors appointment, and Kosala was appointed as managing directors of SCP. Basically, the year 2005 was some kind of a remarkable year in terms of the changes within the group, right? So this is the Sunshine Group at the moment, students. If you think about Sunshine Group, is the parent, right? Parent in 2005, it goes as Sunshine Construction PLC. It was established as a private limited, right? The parent company, and they have two subsidiaries. This is Sunshine Manufacturing Limited, SML. Hereafter, I am going to refer as SML, right? Someone is raising the hand. I think it is a mistake, but anyway, if you have a question, you can ask then and there, right? So that is okay. You can use the chat books and ask any questions, right? Anyway, students, Sunshine Manufacturing Limited, hereafter I am referring as SML. SML is a partially owned subsidiary with 80% shareholding, and Sompal Singha is the investor of the remaining part, right, with 20% investment. And here 100% investment on SRERL, Sunshine Real Estate and Residential Private Limited. It's a fully owned subsidiary, and it's like a real estate and property development arm of the particular group, and a fully owned subsidiary. So those are two subsidiaries that they have. Other than that, when it's come to group information, we don't have any other information in terms of associate, joint arrangements, or anything, right? Okay. So these are directors of the company. So initially establishing SCL, Sunshine Construction Limited. So Punchi Banda was the chairman of SCL and SML, and Punchi Banda four siblings, right? No ladies are coming to the business, even though they had Punchi Banda has 6 siblings. Only the males are coming as the directors, executive directors of the SCL. And Kamal Verma, executive director finance, is the one who helped Punchi Banda to set up the business as well as to take the initial bank loan by preparing financial statement, taxation, and everything, right? And he actually referred his one of the good friend, Gamono De Silva, executive director for the engineer operations, right? So with the inception, basically they had the CL group, they had in 7 directors. Now, what happened was like 2005, they have appointed independent directors, Hema Bandar and Buarka De Silva. And Buarka De Silva is going to be the audit committee chairman, right? There are some problems with this. I think Indonesia has already discussed when it's come to Buarka De Silva. Buarka De Silva not having recent audit experience, and he is not a raw accountant as well. Normally, we know audit committee chairman should have good financial acumen, and it is advisable to have recent audit experience as well when it's come to group audit committee chairman. But Buoneka is a person who doesn't have that. Other than that, there's an issue or there's a questionable thing with the Buoneka as well, because Buoneka is later on searching business opportunities for the company, right? Searching foreign opportunities for the company. I think that it's like as a capacity of executive director that has to be done. So independent director, I don't think how it is relevant for his independency, and don't know what are the arrangement because don't know further information are given to us, right? And Kosala Apami, executive director of SML and managing director of SRERL, and is the managing director vice chairman of SCP, right? So now basically the SCP group has 10 directors, including the initial 7 directors, as well as later on they have added 3, including Apuhami's son. Now, shareholding on Sunshine Construction. This is how the shareholding basically. SCL, Sunshine Construction Limited, Punjbanda owns 60%, and Apami siblings, right? Punjbanda Apami siblings own 30%, 5% each. All 6 siblings own 5% each, and Kamal Veragama 5%, and Jamnu Veragama 5%. Now, what has happened was like later on in 2005, these siblings have given their shareholding to Kosala Apami. Right now, the shareholding comes like this. Now, this is the shareholding. Puchibanda 40%, Kosala Apam 16%, Kamal Veragama 2%, Gamnu Veragama 2%, and public holding 40%. That is how it is as of today, right? So, if you try to match the shareholding and the return, and if you try to get this, there's some kind of a mismatch. I am not going to further explain, and I am not going to further confuse. But when you come to your exam, you have to use special shareholding as the latest shareholding, and shareholding will not be correct. If there's any question, you will have to use this particular shareholding that they have given in the final table for the shareholding, right? Just to give another understanding about Sunshine Manufacture Private Limited. So it was established in 2003. SML, this is one of the subsidiary, right? 80% owned, partially owned subsidiary. It manufacturing product, basically manufacturing related items, right? Including soil bricks and AAC blocks, right? AAC box is like concrete blocks that we are using for building construction, large scale building construction, concrete mix, right? And initiated capital was 200 million, 80% by SCL, and other remaining percent invested by 20%. Somapal Edirasinghe, and Somapal Edirasinghe became the managing director of SML Group as well, right? SML company. Like later on, in 2003, from after Somapala, basically, Kosal Appuhami became the managing director or the executive director. Sorry, he's become the executive director of SML. And Punchabanda Appuhami is the chairman. Right now, is also reporting to Kosal Appuhami as a company head. Right. And here there's a warning in terms of SML, reduce market share and the revenue drop, and there's a profit and there's a loss in the last year. So in terms of SML, there's a huge issue in terms of the performance of the company. Sunshine Real Estate Residential Private Limited, so established in 2005 and fundraised for initial public offering in 2005. SAP Group go for public issuing or listed. They have listed, then they have issued shares for 40% public, general public. With that, they have established this particular subsidiary. Keep remember, from this both subsidiaries are established subsidiaries or incorporated subsidiaries. Those are not acquired subsidiaries. In that particular case, you can't see any goodwill balance in the financial statement. There's no goodwill given in the group financial statements either. Why? Because there is no goodwill since these both subsidiaries are incorporated subsidiaries, right? Incorporated means they are very brand new kind of subsidy, not acquired ones. So in Sunshine Real Estate, SRERL, basically the first project is in a condominium apartment in Kolpiti, right? And second project is in Korte, but this Korte project was stopped just because of the supply issues and economic recession and other things. But now again kickstart this particular second project. So managing director of the particular company is Kosal Appuhami. So that's what they have given in terms of SRRA, right? So now that is the basic understanding about the pre-scene. I believe now you get some kind of a clear picture, whatever the images that I have shown, right? Whatever the infographics that I have shown, that you have got a clear picture about the company, what they are doing and how they perform. So now I am going to discuss the possible questions that might come to your exam. So when it's come to possible questions, student, possible question, I think Zuranga, so this, right? So I am not going to cover anything about the auditing part. I am going to cover some possible questions from financial reporting. Financial reporting in the sense, I am going to tell you what are the possible standards that you have to look for when it's come to pre-scene, and possible questions from group accounts. So when it's come to consolidation or the group accounts, what kind of a question that might be tested during the exam, right? But don't blame me if you are getting some kind of completely different thing, right? These are basically pre-scene analysis, and whatever the things that we are going is actually I can stop my session from this point saying now I have analyzed the pre-scene, but I am going one step above that and I am giving some kind of the predictions, right? So based on my judgment, and institute has not provided me any inputs for give these predictions, believe me, students, right? So that much of integrity they have in terms of examination process, right? So here what I have to tell you is, basically these are purely based on the my judgment. And if you missed something out of this at the moment during your studies, there is a 1 week. There's 1 week, right? You have enough time for this particular 1 week, and you can cover up those things and you can go to the exam, right? Okay. So basically, students, when it's come to the references to the pre-scene, what I'm going to do is like I am going to give you the reference, and I am telling these standards might be tested. So here you can see there's a segmental information given, unaudited segmental information, right? Anyway, SLFRS 8 can be tested. SLFRS 8 is one of the standard which was not tested in SL1 so far, if I'm not mistaken, right? So in that particular case, SLFRS 8 can be tested, but anyway, can't give 100% guarantee, because when it's come to this particular group, very clear segments we have, very clear 3 segments we have. So you can't apply 10% rule, 75% rule when determination of the segmental information, because here you have like very straightforward kind of, right? Very straightforward kind of approach when it comes to segment reporting. Company-wise, they have prepared the segment report, right? Then the next one is basically Nilanthi, your camera is on. You have to. You have to switch off the camera. Right, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Right. Right, okay. Rohit is asking, sir, will you be distributing the slide? I think that we don't have a mechanism to distribute the slides after the session. So what you have to do is you can write or you can take a picture, right? So you can take a picture of this, right, Rohit? So you can do it. And you, if you want, you can take a, and this will be uploaded to YouTube as well. Later on, you can watch this from YouTube, right? So anyway, students, what I'm going to tell you is now basically the second one. The company is in collaboration with the research and development of RDA. So when it's called research and development collaboration, basically, so you know, historically, normally LKS 38 is one of the standard that regularly testing when it's come to your SL1 paper. So LKS 38, they can test and they are in collaboration with the government institutions. There are a lot of government projects that they are in collaboration with governments institutions. So in that particular case, there may be a possibility that government grant, right? Government grant also can be tested. So there may be instances that you are getting concessionary loans from the government and other concessions from the government. So in that particular case, government grant standard also plays a vital role in this particular part. And the next one, SML has increased the presence across the construction value chain and is strategic in setting up production plants. So they are in the process of setting up some production plants, but I don't know how it is feasible with the current financial situation of the company. But what I can do is if they are going for construction of a production plant, normally LK16 is definitely tested, but LK16 is a standard, not normally standalone based in testing. So when they are testing LK16, at least they will combine to another standard as well. As you all know, LK16, LKS20, and LKS23 are like the standard which are going in line, right? So you can combine and ask questions. LK16, maybe they can combine LK16 with LKS23, borrowing cost, and they will ask some kind of a question. Oh, borrowing cost is a good standard to test a bigger question in your section 2 of your paper. And next one, basically, industry will not bounce back quickly. So basically, student industry, there are a lot of issues in this particular company. There are some negative indications, right? Impairment indications in that particular industry also having some kind of a problem. Some company SML is having losses. In that particular case, student, what I am thinking about that they will test a question from disclosures. Normally, if you see some of the papers, they have tested liquidity disclosures, going concern disclosures. Likewise, this time also, I believe that there will be a question from a disclosure, maybe a going concern disclosure from a, let's say, SML perspective or SCP group perspective, and the risk management disclosure, because CS Sri Lanka has issued some kind of a guideline in 2022 in terms of disclosure requirement when there's economic recession or economic crisis. So that kind of a question will be tested in terms of disclosure. So if you are not aware about it, it is the time to go through it and have some kind of an understanding, because recent past normally at least one disclosure kind of a question that they have tested. Then SCL subsequently started quoting government tenders. So basically, Sunshine Company is into construction industry. So when it's come to construction industry, what I can tell you is, student, if you go through the SLFRS 15, there are a lot of questions related to construction industry. And I want you to go to SLFRS 15 and refer whatever the examples under construction industry, because construction industry specific questions are there, right? So basically, it's not like sale of goods. Construction industry, it's a standard which is highly linked to SLFRS 15, and there can be different questions or different question from different level of difficulty that they can test. So SLFRS 15, just go and look at how to treat the revenue of the construction industry. That also you have to have in your mind, because SLFRS 15 is one of the key standard normally regularly testing in your paper, right? That you can't avoid. And then Sunshine Group has not fully compiled with all the set changes and new laws, and workers are right. So basically, they have some issues. They are not complied with the minimum wage rules, as well as they have issue with computation of EPF and ETF as well. So these are non-compliances. When there's a non-compliance, then what will have, there may be some situation that they will have some pending litigations, right? So there may be some pending litigations. Then pending litigations is mainly one of the things that we are discussing in LKS 37. If the pending litigation and the legal counsel is saying that we have to pay for that claim, then we have to go for a provision. Otherwise, we can end up with the contingent liability. Contingent liability means just we can end up with just a disclosure. But in that particular case, LKS 10 also plays a vital role. As you all know, LKS 10, it's an event after the reporting period. Normally, I have seen in the papers that if they are testing LKS 37, they will combine LKS 10 as well, and they will test both standard knowledge in one particular question. So that standard also you have to keep in your mind. Then students, group revenue had dropped by 13% and SML is having lost 38 million and industry will not bounce back. Likewise, most of the time there are a lot of impairment indication, external and internal indications are within the pre-scene itself. So why not they will go and test LKS 36? If they are testing LKS 36, most of the time they will go for impairment testing of a cash generating unit, which is maybe a subsidiary at this particular pre-scene, right? They will not highly focused on individual asset, but they will go and look at the impairment of a cash generating unit, right? So those are the main standards that I can tell you, right? If you go through the financial, there are a lot of standards might come to your mind, but here these are the main standard that I can tell you. So sometimes some student asking, since the government projects are not paid recently, SLFRS 9 requirement, yes, SLFRS 9 requirement will come. But again, I have a question, because last paper also SLFRS 9 they have tested last paper, and I don't believe that this time SLFRS 9 similar impairment question will not be tested, but can't guarantee. But that's my suggestion. Anyway, here I haven't incorporated almost all the set of accounting standard. These are very few. Let's say we have like 10 accounting standard that might be related to it, that might be combined to the pre-scene, and they will test during the exam. So if you haven't covered up these things, if you haven't thought of this kind of a question will come based on the things that what I have told you today and told you now, you can go back and have a look on this particular sessions, particular standards, right? Going forward. Now I am going to discuss, student, the financial reporting questions or the standard related questions are done. Now I am going to discuss basically the questions relating to consolidation, right? So when you see the consolidation, I have given some extracts. So independent director Buonek is explore new overseas markets, right? And he is going and looking for overseas market, and student might think whether they will go and test a foreign subsidiary. Foreign subsidiary is one of the things that they have not tested in SL1 syllabus or the paper so far, right? So that can be tested. But again, what my question is like, basically, because this is a company in Sri Lanka, and at this moment, at this economic recession with the exchange rate crisis and everything, no one is going to have a foreign subsidiary. Another particular thing is the group is struggling itself in terms of cash flows and everything. Are they go and acquire a foreign subsidiary? It is not that much of a possible thing. That is much of a possible thing. So that's why I don't believe that foreign subsidiary will be tested. But anyway, this particular thing, what came to my mind was like a foreign subsidiary. But here, student, this is highly possible. I am jumping to the fifth bullet point now. He suggests delivering their vision, right? Timely and quality delivery, right? Time and quality delivery. In that particular case, basically, student, they will go, right? They will go and they will acquire local manufacturing establishment in order to ensure their value chain or the value chain activities are in line and in line with the objective or the overall aim of that particular company. So in that particular case, acquisition of a local company can be a possible thing rather than acquisition from a foreign subsidiary, right? However, I'm going to pick point number 2. Due to economic setback, SML has lost the market share. So SML is giving a lot of troubles, right? If you have someone in your life, they are giving a lot of troubles. What you do normally, you will remove him out, right? So that's what normally we do, right? Let's say there's a friend that he is giving a lot of troubles to you, and you will move him out. That's a simple theory. So here also, student, what you do is like SML is giving a lot of troubles. And in that particular case, what will be the best course of actions, right? What will be the best course of action? They can go and dispose the SML subsidiary, right? SML subsidiary, and it will enhance the financial performance of the company as well. Financial cash, they will receive some cash as well as the loss-making subsidiary move out, and it will entirely helpful for the group profitability end of the day. And here, chairman highlighted the continuous drop in performance in SML. Again, there are a lot of instances that they are repetitively telling that SML is not good performing well, right? That's what we are going to think about this disposal of SML. Group revenue has dropped by 13%, right? And what they're going to group will structure. So anyway, group revenue also dropped by the group indicators also are not going that much of a good sign. Again, then if the group revenue and group indicators, group profitability, group everything is not going well, I have a question whether they will go for acquisition, right? Because even though a local acquisition, I have a doubt because again, student, the group doesn't have enough cash flow, right? They are having some kind of issues. So will they go for new investment rather than protecting what they have at the moment, right? So that issue is there. So will they go for new investment or they will ask for new investors to come? That is the question that we have to have in our mind. And few investors are not happy with the acquisition, they have to dispose their shares. Few investors are not happy. If they are disposing the shares, there may be some other investors coming in acquiring it, but it is not a problem because few investors, I mean, more or less, these are general public. Anyway, at the moment, general public is having only 40%. If every shares of general public purchased by the individual, that particular person will not get the controlling power of SCP. But we don't know that maybe some of the shareholder in, let's say, Punchu Bandappuha might thought of selling one of the shares to outside party. That can be possible, right? So with that, these are the possible questions. Right? Basically, I can tell you 5 to 6 possible questions, but I have dropped down into 3 possible questions in terms of my experience, my judgment, right? So first one is basically acquisition of subsidiary, right? So basically acquisition of subsidiary means basically SCP will not invest on another company. Investor might come and invest on SCP. It means SCP will remain as it is. New investor comes and acquire SCP group. So then that particular new investor will become the ultimate parent of the SCP group. So that is possible because one of the past paper, that kind of a question is there. So we have the main company, and other than that, one of the investors are coming outside and he is acquiring the SCP, right? Then all the issues will be sorted down. No, our cash flow issues also will be sorted down. Likewise, that kind of a possible question can come. Or since they are telling about the local manufacturing establishment, they will go and acquire a local manufacturing company, right? Or one or two company, maybe acquire as a subsidiary, acquire at a joint venture, like they will go and acquire subsidiary company. So SCP group, they will go and acquire local manufacturing establishment, right? To ensure their smooth value chain activities. So that is one of the possible question. Another thing is basically disposal of the SML. Disposal of the SML. So they will go and they will dispose SML question as well. So this can be a disposal with full loss of control or partial loss of control, or this can be a disposal with without loss of controls, right? So there are lot of instances that they can go for disposal, right? So disposal scenario also something that is highly probable when it's come to this particular, right? But the thing is, if they go for disposal, what I believe is like disposal scenario will not be tested standalone basis, because more or less what is the score making part of the paper in terms of consolidation is the goodwill computation. So at least they will have a goodwill computation, and I believe these two type of questions, the above type of questions are highly probable. Anyway, they can combine acquisition and disposal into a one question as well, right? So if you haven't done it, go there and just look at the disposal scenarios, right? Anyway, some students also have asked how about the complex groups. Yes, obviously they will go for complex group accounting, not the simple group accounting. So when it's come to complex group accounting, that's what I say, further acquisitions, further investments, then they will go for another acquisition. Maybe they will acquire local manufacturing establishment through SML. If they're acquiring through SML, then indirect holding adjustment also will come, because SML is a subsidiary where we have only 80% of control. So likewise, there are a lot of instances that they can test. So anyway, it will from what I can tell you is it will from complex consolidation, not a simple consolidation, right? So LKS 40 question. LKS 40 that I can't guarantee, because If you think about this, basically LKS 40 is not that much related, but don't know, right? Can test, but not. Acquisition of SAB outside like a disposal of shares of SAP. Yes, right, like a disposal of shares SAP. But if the new company comes and acquiring another company, right? What they will do, like they will ask financial statement of that particular new company, not SCP, right? So students, that's all that what I have to share with you. If you have any questions, that you can ask from me now, right? Do you have any questions in terms of the pre-scene? Anything that you need to ask? Anything other than the pre-scene as well? If you have any questions, right? Don't be too specific to the standard related questions, right? Otherwise, some students will ask standard related questions or bigger questions at this forum, right? So most of the time, if anything you have in terms of any doubts in terms of pre-scene. How about LKS 19? LKS 19, if they are testing LKS 19, most of the time it should be retirement benefit topics. But LKS 19 is a standard that can be tested, right? And related part, LKS 24 is that here, student, what I'm going to tell you is basically not the standard which will test to the exam, right? Don't forget that you have section 1 as well. So there are standard like IFRS 9, OSLFRS 9, leases, related party, investment property. Likewise, there are a set of standard that can be tested in the part 1. I am not going to discuss those things, right? So you have to analyze the past papers and you have to identify them. So this is what I am going to tell you is based on the pre-scene. These are the most possible scenarios, most possible, right? So it can be some other new things there because you have the unseen. Bigger component is the unseen, right? If you go and analyze the past papers, you can see sometimes unseen questions are not even single word related to the pre-scene. That's why I told there's issue with the connectivity. In that particular case, that's what's required. You have to go free mind. So when it's your subject, there are some important standard. I think you have to those standard like LKS2, SLFRS2. Those are not the biggest standard in terms of your subject, but the other one standard which is bigger, right? So far, investment has tested investment. Yes, investment examiner has tested investment in associates. Question trying order. Yes. So my advice is, student, don't start with the consolidation question. That's the golden advice, right? So basically what you have to do is like, you can start with the audit or risk of material misstatement question, because normally risk of material misstatement question is a question that you can write. And if you are getting easy accounting standard question, of course, you can ask right from that. And what I want to tell you is, if you are getting risk of material misstatement question, make sure that you are not taking excessive time to answer that particular question, right? Sometimes what is happening is basically students are taking excessive time to answer the risk of material misstatement question, and they are killing the time, and they will lose the time to prepare consolidation question and everything. Believe me, consolidation question will take at least like 45 minutes minimum, right? So you have to keep some extra time at the end to prepare the consolidation question, right? So other thing is, student, when it comes to exam, it is very important time manage. If you want to pass the exam, at least you have to attempt 80 to 85% of the marks. If you attempt 70 marks and expecting 50, it will not going to happen. If you can at least attempt for like 90 marks, definitely you can end up with 50 marks. That is the golden rule, right? You have to keep that in your mind. Okay. Any questions? Right. Hope that we don't have any other questions. And final advice. So go to the exam, remind, and we all want, as the institute, we all want you to pass this particular exam, and we all want you to become chartered accountants as soon as possible, right? So I believe that we can see all you as chartered accountants in coming months, right? So have the target and work for it, right? So maybe you might struggle in terms of your studies. You may have failed this subject several times, but that doesn't matter, right? So no one can think that CS Sri Lanka is not passing us. No, they are passing us, right? They are very keen on passing us. They want us to see become chartered accountants. That's the situation at the moment, right? So have a good effort. The final week is very important. Still, you have final week, right? 1 week is there. 1 week in terms of, let's say, 24 hours per day. If you sleep like 6 hours and most of you are in study leave, you have like 18 hours, let's say 15 hours minimum, 15 to 7 days. Just assume, right? You have more than 100 hours in hand. very much important and more than enough if someone is doing studies, right? So that is what you have to have is a good plan. If you try to eat the entire chicken during the final week, it is not going to happen, right? So you can't eat the entire chicken because this subject has a huge workload. This subject has a huge syllabus. So try to eat part by part, right? There are some unnecessary parts in the chicken. Forget about it. Eat the most tastier parts. Right? That is what my advice to your student. So with that, student, I believe that you all got something out of the session. Of course, it's a quick session. I know that, but I am a person who do it very quickly and very to the point without taking too much of time and going here and there. That's my nature. I think most of you are aware about that. And I believe that's what you have expected from me as well, rather than going here and there. So I think by taking this, at least one question will come for the exam, right? And I wish you all the very best, and I wish you all the very best in terms of your exam and the future career ahead. Okay, students, then thank you very much, and have a good weekend, and have a good exam, and see you as members soon. Thank you. Good night.